Right, hello, lads and lasses, and welcome back to Boys Down Under, where I have returned from the grave to bring back these daily, well, hopefully daily Celtic videos. And I must say, a lot has happened since I've been gone. Martin Boyle has been linked to Celtic. Talks have progressed with Cameron Carter-Vickers. Liam Shaw left to Motherwell on loan. We signed Johnny Kenny. Ewan Henderson, he went to Hibbies. A lot has happened. I've missed out on a lot, and I've missed doing these videos, but I'm back. I'm not 100%. I'm still, I'd say, around at 75% of my full health, so I may seem a bit short of breath at sometimes, but that is what it is. But before we go any further, though, we have to say that the bottom line is that a lot has happened, but even more happened last night, with Celtic being linked to Aussie international Riley McGree, a video I could not pass on doing. So, yeah. But I must say, I know I said this already, but before we go any further, I want to thank you guys so much for all the kind messages that you had on my post. Means a lot to me when I'm really sick and I'm really down, that you guys tell me to get better and, you know, don't worry about the videos, just, you know, get yourself back to full health. It means a lot, so thank you guys a lot. And yeah, if you're new to the channel, like the video, subscribe to the channel. But without further ado, let's get into it. So, if you don't know the championship, or you're not an Aussie, you probably won't have heard of Riley McGree before, you know. He's in that name that sort of pops out of nowhere, but that's fair enough. However, you may have certainly seen this goal he scored as a 20-year-old in the A-League.
But Atkinson did well. The boy from... Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! Have you seen a more freakish goal in A-League history? Riley McGree!
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. That was my reaction to hearing Riley McGree was linked to Celtic, because it just did not seem plausible at first. And it was also my reaction to seeing Salah won the Puskas Award that year instead of Riley McGree, who had... Salah literally committed highway robbery with that. You know, McGree was robbed, is what it is, but we move on. So, obviously, you guys want to know a bit more about Riley McGree. So, he started his career in the A-League, making his debut for Adelaide United, a team who is notorious, I must say, for birthing new hot prospects into the A-League. You know, over the years, they've had so many wonderful talents coming through the ranks, and right now as well. Toure brothers, just for example, if you follow the A-League, you'll know a lot more. You know that there's Kunziyenji. They just debuted a 15-year-old last night. They are well renowned for their youth, and Riley McGree was one of those lads. He debuted at 17 for the club. A lot of hype was around him, and quick little fact for you guys: there was so much hype that after making his debut for Adelaide, he was actually linked to Celtic as a 17-year-old, but instead he left for Club Bruges in Belgium, but never actually cut it out at the side. And he had 2 loan spells back into the A-League, then a permanent move back to his boyhood club of Adelaide United, and then stayed for a season. Then he went back off to the MLS. So he's had a lot of movement recently, and it didn't stop there. You know, he was at Charlotte FC. He hasn't made an appearance for Charlotte as of yet. However, because he was loaned out to Birmingham City instantly, where he was a very solid player. And he made, I think it was 15 appearances in all competitions for them that season. And obviously, because the MLS season starts at a different time, the loan deal ran out. So he was only there for the end of the season. Then they renewed that deal for the start of this 2021-2022 season. Made 15 appearances, and the Aussie maestro, he really got off well this season. I think he had 2 goals, 2 assists in all appearances for the Blues, and his loan deal did in fact end up in December, but during his time at Birmingham, 30 appearances, I think 3 goals, 2 assists, very clean record, I guess we could say, for a predominantly box-to-box midfielder. But he's returned to Charlotte, and according to the Daily Mail, Celtic are ready to swoop in for a permanent deal. Now, I must say, these rumours came at quite a surprise for me, because down here in Australia, the viewpoint was, well, my viewpoint was, I can't speak for all Australians, but, you know, as the resident Australian Celtic YouTuber, I guess I will in this case. The reports and the views were that he was going to stay at Birmingham permanently. They were going to make that deal a permanent move. or at the very, very least, he was going to stay at the Championship. You know, Middlesbrough were rumoured to have shown interest in him, a couple other clubs, but it was rumoured Birmingham or the Championship at the very least. So there wasn't actually a whisper of Celtic at all, but it did seem likely that he was leaving the MLS, like I've been saying. Now, so that's why those rumours caught me completely off guard last night. But I must say, very excited by them, because what Celtic are going to get from McGree, they're going to be getting a player who's very comfortable playing anywhere in the midfield. You know, primarily he's a box-to-box maestro. He can play attacking midfielder very, very well as well. Not so much as a CDM, but certainly a box-to-box or attacking midfielder are his two stronger points. Now, he's a player who relishes playing in tight spaces and using his physical presence and footwork to get out of them. He's sort of like a maths professor in that the fact that he always, you know, seems to get himself in tight spaces to further be able to prove to himself and to further challenge himself, like a maths professor would, you know, give himself harder equations to test his own knowledge. It's sort of like that. He's testing his own ability, but he isn't the type of footballer, you know, to crack it out from 30 yards. Someone like David Turnbull who does that. He creates chances rather than finishing them off. He's very adept on the dead ball. I must say he can put in a really good corner kick, something David Turnbull very much lacks. But in my eyes, he would be a very, very handy acquisition for this Celtic team. And look, I've got to be honest. Would I say he's a guaranteed starter in this Celtic team? Of course not. You'd be daft to think so. Even myself, as an Aussie, would say 100% he's not a guaranteed starter. Now, he is a great player, however, to have for rotation, and I'm sure he'll be aware of the fact that he's coming in as a player who's going to have to fight for a position rather than be handed it, because reports are suggesting he favours a move to Celtic rather than anyone else. And I think even more so, I think he's relishing the opportunity to work with Ange Postecoglou again. Ange was actually the coach. I'm thinking most of you will know this, but he was actually the coach who gave him his first call-up as just a mere 18-year-old to the Socceroos. He hadn't even played 15 matches of competitive football yet at that point. And when he called him up as a youngster, Ange had nothing but praise for McGree. He went on to say, "I really like the way he's adjusted to playing in an unfamiliar position against some pretty good opponents. He's played Champions League and A-League. He's just someone I want to have a look at. We'll give him an opportunity and see how he adapts to the environment. If it proves to be a good move, he could be an exciting one for us in years to come." And you know what's funny about that? It's almost scary how similar that last comment is to a comment a manager would make after signing a player for their team. And while he didn't debut for the Socceroos under Ange, which he has played for the Socceroos since, you know, he has not looked out of place at all. He's made 7 appearances, got a handful of assists. He's doing very, very well for them, and I think it complemented a great time he had at Birmingham, where he honestly became a fan favourite there, without a doubt. But look, it's fair enough. You guys may question this decision. You know, you may go, why are we signing a player for £2.5 million who is not guaranteed to start, 23 years old? We've just signed 2 midfielders from Japan. How do we know he won't flop? The reason he won't flop is because Ange Postecoglou is the greatest manager in Australian football history. And every Aussie footballer knows that. So if they get the chance to play under him, they'd feel a responsibility to perform. And McGree has even a further responsibility to perform for Ange Postecoglou and to repay the faith Postecoglou has put in him. Because he, like I said, he is the man who first ever called up McGree to the Socceroos at such a young age of 18. And in a midfield that consisted of Mile Jedinak, Aaron Moy, Tommy Rogic. You know, the Australian midfield at the time was absolutely stacked. Even, you know, Timmy Cahill would play cam at sometimes just behind the striker. Look, I think you guys have got to trust your resident Australian Celtic YouTuber on this one. I think Riley McGree, if given the opportunity, he will perform and he will impress not only the fans, but the club and the players around him. I think, give him the opportunity, he will take it without a doubt. As for a deal, the figure, as I just said, or as I recently said, is reportedly around £2.5 million for a permanent deal with some add-ons. How long that may be, not sure, but at 23 years of age, you wouldn't be out of place to think that it would be a 4 or 5 year deal, because McGree still has heaps of potential. He was loved at Birmingham, like I said, a fan favourite there, and hopefully can become a fan favourite at Celtic. And I've got to say, I think these links are much more concrete than the Boyle rumours. I think this deal, I would go as far as to say it's almost 95% certain that it's going to happen in the coming days. It's being reported by multiple outlets. There's concrete numbers going out there. I think we can certainly see Riley McGree in the green and white in a very recent time. I think we could see him on the bench without a doubt for the Hibs game, for the first game back after the winter break. And the deal's moving swiftly as well. I think that's another indicator that it's going to happen, because with all the transfers so far, Celtic have moved through them very swiftly, not getting into any nonsense negotiations. And yeah, in the coming days, Celtic could have their 5th signing of the transfer window in the club, in the building and training at Lennox Town. The only issue I think that arises with this deal is someone's got to go from the midfield. We have to release a player because the midfield is jam-packed right now. You've got Tom Rogic, David Turnbull, Callum McGregor, Nir Baton, Reo Hatate, Yasuki Itaguchi, James McCarthy and Ismail Soro. Personally, I think the latter, Soro, has got to go. It spells the end of Soro's time at Celtic. I think with, McCarthy, Itaguchi and McGregor and Baton, all capable CDMs, I don't think there's a place for Soro at this club anymore. It's a shame. Full of energy, great raw talent, hasn't really refined that, really, really rash sometimes. Hopefully, if he does go to America, he does well there. But I think it does spell the end of Soro's time at Celtic. But as promised, there is a Jota update. I know, so many updates. I can't keep track of them all. You guys can't keep track of them all. However, progress is progress, and it's being reported by Craig Swan DR on Twitter. A full-time switch to Celtic is in the closing stages and reaching completion. We're in the final stages. If Fabrizio Romano was reporting this, he'd be saying, here we go, because Jota it is almost confirmed now, or Celtic have pretty much reached a deal with Benfica to see Jota stay in Glasgow permanently in the coming years. The fee is the same that has been reported forever, just around £6.5 million. I'm pretty sure all that's happening now is the terms of the deal, how long it will be, wages, that sort of stuff. That should ease by, though. I'm sure Jota is going to love. He wants to stay at Celtic. It's clear he loves the fans. He loves the club. I'm ecstatic. Really want to see this go through. Really want to also see Cameron Carter figures go through. But look, life right now as a Celtic fan could not get better. We are making absolute moves in this transfer window. Ange is developing a serious squad right now. A squad that he feels can win the league. A squad that he feels can go on to achieve great things. And a squad that he feels he wants to coach. You can see the absolute difference in the team from this point from this time last year. Life could not be better as a Celtic fan right now. The only thing that could make it sweeter is seeing us go top of the ladder, because it would show it would be completely representative of the amount of work Celtic have put in and how and the levels they have came and the progress they have made. But that is all from me. So remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel, drop in the comments below what you think about the signing of Riley McGree. Personally, without any Aussie bias in there, I really want to see him at Celtic. I think he's a great player to have in there for squad rotation and depth. And at 23 years of age, I can see him in the future years becoming a starter at Celtic if things go his way. But until next time, hail, hail.